We're here to talk about veterans business, small business development. Hopefully all of you have an agenda, copy of the agenda when you came in. If not, Queen, would you pass some out if they don't have it? Okay, good deal. Just want to kind of go over it right quick to just fill you in on what you can expect today. I think we've put together a really information-packed agenda so that we'll cover mostly all of the key bases in terms of veterans business development and employment. Today, well, I'm going to give you a quick overview of how the whole Veterans Federal Procurement Program got started. And then we're going to have doing business with the federal government, Billy Jenkins, who's the Veterans Procurement Liaison for the SBA Office of Veterans Business Development. He's going to be joining us shortly. We have with us Ron Washington over here. Ron's going to be, Ron and Gretchen Mueller from Humana, going to be talking about supply diversity, trying to get do business and contracting with the corporations. So we got the federal government we're trying to interact with, and we also have the corporations. We'll have a break for lunch around 12:30. Then we have with us Ms. Linda Sidney. She's here from the VA. Linda. She's going to talk about how to do business specifically with the Department of Veterans Affairs. And as those of you who are veteran business owners, we'll be talking about the special preference program they have at the VA. A little later on, unfortunately, Ms. Simpkins, with the principal with VRM Risk Management, was unable to join us today due to a traffic mishap on the way here. But her associate, Eugene Jeter, I saw him in the room. He must have just stepped out. He'll be with us along with Tommy Calzi and Ray Hudley to talk about bonds for those of you that are in that type of business where you may need bonding and insurance. Then later on, we've got Michelle Griffin, Patricia Crossman. She's here, Patricia. And Michelle was here earlier. She'll be back. She's with Humana. Marissa Neal and Dr. Wes Lights will be here this afternoon to talk about small business resources to plug into here in your local area that can help you with your business. Then tomorrow we wanted to focus on employment, because we know that there are a lot of veterans who they may be interested in business, but initially, you still got to pay the bills, so you may need a job, need to get one, or hold down the job you have. We find that across America, there's a high unemployment rate, and more so depending on the area where you live. And the unemployment rate among veterans, unfortunately, is high as well. So we want to try to engage corporations as well as the federal government to do more outreach to our veterans so that they can become gainfully employed. And so we're going to have the Department of Labor will have some of their folks here tomorrow to talk about how they can assist veterans with obtaining employment. Also, those veterans who are seeking employment may actually be able to connect on some real job opportunities while they are here tomorrow. We also have Al Seymour. Is Al still here? Al Seymour with the Job Corps. We're going to have a representative from UPS, Humana, and also Walmart. Walmart will have their human resources representative here with us tomorrow as well. And then later in the afternoon, we also want to talk a little bit about veterans benefits assistance. There's no time limit to file a claim. So those of you who may have been thinking about whether or not you still could do that, we're going to talk about how that process works. We know some veterans go years without filing a claim, and finally decide to seek out some assistance, submit with the assistance, submit the proper paperwork, and are able to still receive compensation years after they've served in service. So we'll talk about that as well. But let me get started, kind of give you an overview of how this federal procurement program got going. All right? And we can also do a few questions along the way. If something I bring up, if you have a question, just raise your hand, and we'll try to address it. A little bit about myself. I'm right now still stationed in Washington, D.C., and I still talk about it as being stationed there, even though I'm a veteran and have been out of the service long ago, because as you can see, I served during the Vietnam era in the Air Force. But I've been working with veterans for well over 20 years now. Also, the legislative representative for the National Association for Black Veterans. And I'll talk a little bit more about that organization in just a moment. I'm also working with the Vietnam Vets of America, who are headquartered in Silver Spring, Maryland, and primarily working with them on small business and employment for veterans. We also, I'll tell you a little bit about the Task Force for Veterans Entrepreneurship and how that works. I'm a part of that group as well. Every now and then I get a little recognition for something with the SBA or the NAACP, and served as a commissioner on the Veterans Disability Benefits Commission. So, you know, if you stay active in these different things, eventually you get recognized for something. But I am most proud to be a veteran. And how many veterans do we have in the room today? All right, good. We got a good full room of veterans. And those who are veterans or those who are not veterans, I'm sure you know a veteran or have a veteran in your family, right? So there's veterans all around us all the time. And sometimes seems like it's sort of a forgotten group until you hear the news about Iraq and Afghanistan. Then all of a sudden everybody is, you know, yeah, let's support the troops. Well, what happens to those troops when they come back home? What happens years later to those troops that served and those troops that served honorably? We feel that this country, the U.S., state by state, still deserves to honor its veterans throughout their lifetime. That's our motto and that's our mission. Through the Vets Group, we set up an organization in D.C., nonprofit 501c3, because in addition to the needs of veterans with regard to health care, housing, education, some of the ones you hear about most often, we found that increasingly more and more veterans were interested in starting or expanding their own small business. And there was no real program to provide the assistance. So we started the Vets Group and started working with veterans and trying to connect them to resources and opportunities that will get them started and going in business. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And of course, there's the employment piece. You know, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we still want to help those veterans who are seeking employment even while they're trying to think about and establish their own business. This Task Force for Veterans Entrepreneurship, this is kind of the group that kind of got the ball rolling. Back in 1998, 99, a group of us veterans from different veteran service organizations like the American Legion, Vietnam Vets, you've heard of some of those, right? Disabled American Veterans, AMVETS, VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars. You've heard of some of these organizations, right? Well, in D.C., mostly all of the organizations have headquarters and have representatives right there in Washington, D.C. And so we meet together regularly to discuss a variety of different issues pertaining to veterans. In 1998-99, we got a call to come together to talk about what we could do to organize an initiative to support veterans interested in starting or expanding their own small business. And so we formed what's called the task force. You'll hear us refer to it as Vet Force. We continue, believe it or not, to meet regularly once a month ever since 1999. We've missed probably only a couple of months, and the meetings are usually always held in Washington, D.C. or in the national capital area. But we set the meeting up where we have an open conference call access so that you can be here in Louisville and call into the meeting and hear and talk and ask questions. And we also use a system called WebEx, communication system, where if you have a webcam or camera on your computer, you can actually see into the meeting, and we could also see you. And we're going to expand that capability this year so that we can have more visual interaction of those people who are away from the local area. Okay? And so if you leave your business card or your contact information before you leave today, we'll add you to that distribution list. And there's no cost, no dues or fees to attend. And we talk about the issues that pertain to you. You know, you raise the issue. What are your concerns? What challenges are you being confronted with? And what we try to do, those of us who are on the committee, we try to bring in federal agency representatives or corporate representatives to address your concerns.